The Atharvaveda, hymn 512, 11 verses. Thou in the house of man, this day enkindled, worshipest God's light beams as God, O jet of Vedas, observant, bright as Mitra. Bring them hither, thou art a sapient and foreknowing envoy. Tanu Napat, fair tongue, with sweet meat, balming the baths and ways of order. Make them pleasant. Bear too the gods our sacrifice, exalting with holy thoughts our hymns of praise and worship, invoked, deserving prayer and adoration. O Agni, come accordant with the Vasus. Thou art, O youthful Lord, the gods' invoker. So best of sacrificers, bring them quickly. By rule, the sacred grass is scattered eastward, a robe to clothe this earth when dawns are breaking. Widely it spreads around and far extended, fair for the gods and bringing peace and freedom. Let the expansive doors be widely opened, like wives who deck their beauty for their husbands. Lofty, celestial, all-impelling portals admit the gods and give them easy entrance. Pouring sweet dews, let holy night and morning, each close to each, be seated at their station. Lofty, celestial dames with gold to deck them, assuming all their fair and radiant beauty. Come the first two celestial, sweet-voiced hotars, arranging sacrifice for man to worship, as singers who inspire us in assemblies, showing the eastern light with their direction. Let Bharati come quickly to our worship, and Illa showing like a human being. So let Sarasvati and both her fellows, deft goddesses, on this fair grass be seated. Hotar, more skilled in sacrifice, bring hither with speed today, God Vashtar. Thou who knowest even him who formed these two, the earth and heaven, the parents, with their forms and every creature, bring thou to our oblations, which thou balmest the companies of gods in ordered season. Agni, Vanaspata, the immolator, sweeten our offered gifts with meat and butter. Agni, as soon as he was born, made ready the sacrifice, and was the gods' preceder. May the gods eat our offering consecrated according to this true priest's voice and guidance. And if we set aside the idea that the term gods may not mean what we would mean by a god, most mythologies have these, this generations of creations thing going on. And 7 tends to be the number, right? Hymn 513, 10 verses. Varuna, sage of heaven, hath given me the gift. With spells of mighty power, I draw thy poison out. Dug up, not dug. Adherent, I have seized it fast. Low hath thy venom sunk like water in the sands. All the non-fluid portion of thy venom I receive in these. I take thy middlemost, thy highest, lowest juice. May it be spent and lest by reason of thy fear. Strong is my cry like thunder with the rain cloud. With powerful incantations let thy strength be stayed. I with the men to aid have seized that juice of his as light from out the gloom. Let Surya rise on high. I with this eye destroy thine eye, and with this poison conquer thine. Live not, O snake, but die the death. Back go thy venom on thyself. Listen to me, black snakes and hateful creatures, lurker in grass, Kara it, and brown and spotty, Approach not near the house my friend inhabits. Give warning, and rest quiet with your poison, even as the cord that strings the bow. I slacken, as it were, the cars of the all-conquering serpent's wrath, of the fierce rage of black and brown, Ta'i Mata and Apodaka, and Alegi and Velegi, their father and the mother too. What will ye do? Your venom sap, we know, is utterly powerless. Daughter of Urugula, she-fiend whom the black-skinned mother bare, all female serpents, poison, who crept swiftly near is impotent. Dwelling beside the mountain slope, the quick-eared porcupine exclaimed, of all these, she snakes, horned in earth, the poison is most powerless. Tabuva are not Tabuva. Thou verily art not Tabuva. Poison is killed by Tabuva. Tastuva are not Tastuva. Thou verily art not Tastuva. Poison is killed by Tastuva. And what do some of these terms mean, right? And of course we realize that we aren't some things. Like, these people in their magic way of life, devotee, magic, atheist. Some people feel like, they can just declare themselves something and automatically they are. Hymn 514, 13 verses. An eagle found thee, with his snout a wild boar dug thee from the earth. Harm thou, O plant, the mischievous, and drave the sorcerer away. Beat thou the Yetudanas back, drive thou away the sorcerer, and chase afar, O plant, the man who fain would do us injury, as 'twere a strip cut round from the skin of a white-footed antelope. Bind like a golden chain, O God, his witchcraft on the sorcerer. Take thou his sorcery by the hand, and to the sorcerer lead it back. Lay it before him face to face, that it may kill the sorcerer. Back on the wizard fall his craft, upon the curser light his curse. Let witchcraft, like a well-naved car, roll back upon the sorcerer. Whoso for others' harm hath dealt woman or man in magic arts, to him we lead the sorcery back, even as a courser with a rope. Now whether thou hast been prepared by gods or been prepared by men, we, with our Indra at our side to aid us, lead thee back again. Agna, victorious in fight, subdue the armies of our foes. Back on the sorcerers we cast his sorcery, and beat it home. Thou who hast piercing weapons, pierce him who hath wrought it. Conquer him, we do not sharpen thee to slay the man who hath not practiced it. Go as a son goes to his sire. Bite as a trampled viper bites. As one who flies from bonds go back. O witchcraft to the sorcerer, even as the timid antelope are hinned from her assailant flees, so swiftly let the sorcery o'ertake and reach the sorcerer. Straighter than any arrows let it fly against him, heaven and earth. So let that witchcraft seize again the wizard like a beast of chase. Let it go contrary like flame, like water following its course. Let witchcraft, like a well-naved car, roll back upon the sorcerer. And they mean sorcerer in some sort of bad way, right? Or witchcraft. Not sure entirely what that means to the. Is it like in the West that you're dealing with a demon? It's not just nature worshippers. Witchcraft is, actually making pacts and all that with demons. And sorcery likewise. Is it ritual drug use? That could also be part of sorcery. Is it, coming up with stuff? I don't know what the course is. It's kind of like almost a gamble. Is that what we're talking about? Hymn 515, 2 verses. Plant, I have those who shall avert the threatened danger. 10 and 1. O sacred plant, produced aright, make sweetness sweet thyself for me. 20 and 2. O plant, have I who shall avert the threatened ill. O sacred plant, produced aright, make sweetness sweet thyself for me. Well, it was only a matter of time that 22 became a sacred number in terms of, some sort of alphabet. But I can't really think of many ancient alphabets that would have came to that number. But, because 10 fingers, 10 toes. And divide the torso into 2. Hymn 5:16. Bull, if thou art the single bull, beget, thou hast no vital sap. And our abilities are for a purpose, right? There's only one verse there. 5:17 is 8 verse. Oh, not 8 verse, 18 verses. These first, the boundless sea, and the Metaresvan fierce, glowing fire, the strong, the bliss bestower, and heavenly floods, firstborn, by holy order, exclaimed against the outrage on a Brahmin. King Soma, first of all, without reluctance, made restitution of the Brahmin's consort. Mitra and Varuna were the inviters. Agna as Hotar took her hand and led her. The man her pledge must by the hand be taken when he hath cried, she is a Brahmin's consort. She stayed not for a herald to conduct her. Thus is the kingdom of a ruler guarded. She whom they call the star, with loosened tresses, descending as misfortune on the village. The Brahmin's consort, she disturbs the kingdom where hath appeared the hair with fiery flashing. Active in duty serves the Brahmanachari. He is a member of the god's own body. Through him, Prahaspata obtained his consort, as the gods gained the ladle brought by Soma. Thus spake of her those gods of old, 7 riches, who sate them down to their austere devotion. Dire is a Brahman's wife, led home by others, in the supremest heaven. The plant's confusion, when infants die untimely born, when herds of cattle waste away, when heroes strike each other dead, the Brahman's wife destroyeth them, even if 10 former husbands, none a Brahman had espoused a dame, and then a Brahman took her hand, he is her husband, only he, not Vaisya, not Rajanya, no, the Brahman is indeed her lord. This Surya in his course proclaims to the 5 races of mankind. So then the gods restored her, so men gave the woman back again. Princes who kept their promises restored the Brahman's wedded wife. Having restored this Brahman's wife and freed them with God's aid from sin, they shared the fullness of the earth and warned themselves extended sway. No lovely wife who brings her dower in hundreds rests upon his bed, within whose kingdom is detained, through want of sense, a Brahman's dame. No broad-browed calf with wide-set ears is ever in his homestead born, within whose kingdom is detained, through want of sense, a Brahman's dame. No steward golden-necked goes before the meat trays of the man, within whose kingdom is detained, through want of sense, a Brahman's dame. No black-eared courser, white of hue, moves proudly harnessed to his car, and whose dominion is detained, through want of sense, a Brahman's dame. No lily grows with oval bulbs, no lotus pool is in his field, in whose dominion is detained, through senseless love, a Brahman's dame. The men whose task it is to milk drain not the brindled cow for him, in whose dominion is detained through senseless love a Brahman's dame. His milch cow doth not profit one, his draught ox masters not the voice. Or ever severed from his wife, a Brahman spends the mournful night. And one of the things that, we come across is that there are some aspects of how people get married in some cultures that one might not approve of. I want no part in bride kidnapping or forced marriage, as Vedic culture does indicate. And also, they have a third thing, that the pre-adolescent marriage. Now, that should never be consummated. And in Vedic culture, some aspects of it, that does occur. And so, thou hast no vital sap. The remainder of the hymn, number 16, was omitted by Griffith with the following note. The hymn contains 10 other similar lines, the only difference being that in the place of Ekav Vrsha, single bull, Diviv Vrsha, double bull or 2 bulls, Triv Vrsha, triple bull, are worth 3 bulls, and so on, follow in regular order up to Eka Dasa, 11-fold, and stanza 11, in which Apodaka, waterless, stands instead of Rasa, sapless, of the preceding lines. No problem there. Okay, hymn 515. The remainder of this hymn was omitted by Griffith with the following note. Stanzas 3 to 11. Of that hymn, we only had 2 verses. Some left out here are exactly the same with the exception of the numbers which increase by 11 in each stanza, 30 and 3, 40 and 4, and so on, up to 110 in stanza 10, stanza 11 concluding with 1,100. Okay, so 20 and... Oh, okay. So do you repeat the whole formula? So 10 and 1, 20 and 2, 30 and 3, 40. Yeah. Okay. Still would have been better if they just, had the whole thing. Hymn 518, 15 verses. The gods, O prince, have not bestowed this cow on thee to eat thereof. Seek not, Rajanya, to devour the Brahman's cow, which none may eat. A base Rajanya, spoilt at dice, and ruined by himself, may eat the Brahman's cow and think, today and not tomorrow, let me live. The Brahman's cow is like a snake, charged with dew poison, clothed with skin. Rajanya, bitter to the taste is she, and none may eat of her. She takes away his strength, she mars his splendor, she ruins everything like fire enkindled. That man drinks poison of the deadly serpent who counts the Brahman as mere food to feed him. Whoever smites him, deeming him a weakling blasphemer, coveting his wealth through folly, Indra sets fire alight within his bosom. He who acts thus is loathed by earth and heaven. No Brahman must be injured, safe as fire from him who loves himself. For Soma is akin to him, and Indra guards him from the curse. The fool who eats the Brahman's food and thinks it pleasant to the taste, eats but can ne'er digest the cow that bristles with 100 barbs. His voice an arrow's neck, his tongue a bowstring, his windpipes fire enveloped, heads of arrows. With these the Brahman pierces through blasphemers with God-sped bows that quell the heart within them. Keen arrows have the Brahmins. Armed with missiles, the shaft, when they discharge it, never faileth, pursuing him with fiery zeal and anger. They pierce the foeman even from a distance. They who themselves 1000 were the rulers of 1,000 men, the Vaitahavyas, were destroyed for that they ate a Brahman's cow. The cow, indeed, when she was slain, o'erthrew those Vaitahavyas who cooked the last she-goat that remained of Kesara Bandha's flock. 100 were the folk, those whom the earth shook off from her. When they had wronged the Brahmin race, they perished inconceivably. Among mankind the gods' despiser moveth. He hath drunk poison, naught but bone is left him. Who wrongs the kinsman of the gods, the Brahmin gangs not the sphere to which the fathers travelled. Agni in sooth is called our guide, Soma is called our next of kin. Indra quells him who curses us. Sages know well that this is so. Prince, like a poisoned arrow, like a deadly snake, O Lord of kine, dire is the Brahmin's arrow. He pierces his enemies therewith. I'm reminded of that passage in the Quran where you just don't presume that somebody is a disbeliever. And particularly some people say stuff and you're like, oh, you're just saying it to save yourself, or just say you're one of us or something. It's like, no. And yeah, just don't go after people because you covet what they have. Hymn 519, 15 verses. The sons of Vaitahavya, the Sranjayas, wax exceeding strong. They well nigh touched the heavens, but they wronged Bregu and were overthrown. When men pierced Brihatsaman through, the Brahmin, son of Angaras, the ram with teeth in both his jaws, the sheep devoured the progeny. If men have spat upon or shot their room upon a Brahmin, they sit in the middle of a stream, running with blood, devouring hair, while yet the Brahmin's cow, which men are dressing, quivers in her throat. She mars the kingdom's splendor. There no vigorous hero springs to life. Terrible is her cutting up. Her bitter flesh is cast away, and it is counted sin among the fathers if her milk is drunk. If any king who deems himself mighty would eat a Brahmin up, rent and disrupted is that realm wherein a Brahmin is oppressed. She grows 8-footed and 4-eyed, 4-eared, 4-jawed, 2-faced, 2-tongued, and shatters down the kingdom of the man who doth the Brahmin wrong. As water swamps a leaky ship, so ruin overflows that realm. Misfortune smites the realm wherein a Brahmin suffers scathe and harm. The very trees repel the man and drive him from their sheltering shade. Whoever claims, O Narada, the treasure that a Brahmin owns, that wealth King Varuna hath said is poison by the gods prepared. None hath kept watch to guard his realm, who hath devoured a Brahmin's cow. Those 99 people whom earth shook and cast away from her, when they had wronged the Brahmin race, were ruined inconceivably. Oppressor of the Brahmins, thus the cow, thus the gods have spoken and declared, the step effacing wisp they bind upon the dead shall be thy couch. Oppressor of the Brahmins, tears wept by the man who suffers wrong. These are the share of water which the gods have destined to be thine. The share of water which the gods have destined to be thine is that, oppressor of the priest, wherewith men lave the corpse and wet the beard. The reign of Mitra Varuna falls not on him who wrongs the priest. To him no counsel brings success, he wins no friend to do his will. And It's worse to go after the worshipper, the person who maintains the spiritual knowledge. Hymn 520. Twelve verses. Formed out of wood, compact with straps of leather. Loud is the war drum as he plays the hero, whetting thy voice and vanquishing opponents. Roar at them like a lion fain to conquer. A fastened frame hath roared as twere a lion, like a bull bellowing to meet the heifer. Thou art a bull, thine enemies are weaklings. Thine is the foe subduing strength of Indra, like a bull marked by strength among the cattle. Roar, seeking kind and gathering up the booty. Pierce through our adversary's heart with sorrow, and let our routed foes desert their hamlets. Victorious in the battle, loudly roaring, seizing what may be seized. Look all around thee, utter, O drum, thy heavenly voice with triumph. Bring as a priest our enemies' possessions. Hearing the drums' far-reaching sound, voice responding. Far-reaching voice resounding. Let the foe's dame, waked by the roar, afflicted, grasping her son, run forward in her terror. Amid the conflict of the deadly weapons, thou first of all, O drum, thy voice shalt utter over the ridge of earth. Speak forth exultantly. Crunching with might the army of the foemen, declare thy message pleasantly and clearly. Loud be thy roar between the earth and heaven. Swift let thy sounds go forth in all directions. Neigh at them, thunder set in opposition. Songmaker, good ally, that friends may conquer. He shall send forth his voice whom art hath fashioned. Make thou the weapons of our warriors bristle. With Indra for ally, call out our heroes, and with thy friends scatter and chase the foemen. Resonant, roaring with thy powerful weapons, warning and heard by troops in many places, knowing all rules and winning us advantage. Deal fame to many where two kings are fighting, bent on advantage, mightier, gaining treasures, victor in war. The spell hath made thee keener, as in the press the stone to stalks of Soma. Thus drum, go, dancing to our foes' possessions. Foe conqueror, victor, vanquishing opponents, seeker of booty, mastering, destroying. Speak out as a skilled speaker tells his counsel. Speak strength to us that we may win the battle. Shaker of things unshaken, readiest corner to battles, conquering foes, resistless leader, guarded by Indra, watching our assemblies. Go quickly, breaker of their hearts who hate us. And the conch and the drum and all that are ways of communicating. But they're also ways of causing disruption, stress, raising and lowering the blood pressure, the heart rate, and various things. Hymn 521, 12 verses. Speak to our enemies, O drum, discouragement and wild dismay. We bring upon our foemen fear and discord and discomfiture. Drum, drive these enemies away when sacrificial butter hath been offered. Let our foemen flee through consternation, terrified, trembling in mind and eye and heart, wrought out of wood, compact with straps of leather, dear to all the clan. Bedewed with sacrificial oil, speak terror to our enemies, as the wild creatures of the wood flee in their terror from a man. Even so do thou, O drum, roar out against our foes to frighten them, and then bewilder thou their thoughts, as when the wolf approaches, goats and sheep run sorely terrified. Even so do thou, O drum, roar out against our foes to frighten them, and then bewilder thou their thoughts, as birds of air day after day fly in wild terror from the hawk, as from a roaring lion's voice. Even so do thou, O drum, roar out against our foes to frighten them, and then bewilder thou their thoughts. May all the deities whose might controls the fortune of the fray frighten away our enemies with drum and skin of antelope. Let those our enemies who go yonder in their battalions shake in fear at shadows and the sound of feet, which Indra sporteth with. To all the quarters of the sky let clang of bowstrings and our drums cry out to hosts of foes that go discomfited in serried ranks. Aditya take their sight away, follow them close, ye motes of light. Let them cleave fast to foot-bound hosts. When strength of arm hath passed away, do ye, O mighty Marutas, sons of Presne, crush down with Indra for ally our foeman. King Soma, Varuna, great god and sovereign, Indra to a death. May these embattled gods, brilliant as Surya, all hail. One-minded conquer those who hate us. And of course, we're implying that they hate without proper cause of hate. It'll be obvious what I need to edit out later, but I made sure that everything was said right amongst all that, so little inclusions here and there where I messed up. I apologize for that.